The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual guests.
What is going on, my Ghost Squad? Welcome to the Armed Citizen Podcast Live. This is episode number 333. Hey, 333. 333. We are live as always on Facebook. My God, what a day. We are live on YouTube, I believe, streaming to over 150 countries worldwide. Today's date is Tuesday, March 19th, 2024. For everyone out there in the future, to let you know what's going on in today's world. If you're listening to this out in Mars or Venus, and if for some reason put this in a time capsule, a million light years away, I'm sorry. Don't judge the Earth by what you're going to hear for the next hour or so. But we'll have fun. If you are out there in the live stream, go ahead and say something in the crowd. We don't know that you're out there unless you do say something. If you want to text in or call into the show, we welcome those texts or calls, and we welcome those. We encourage those. Utilize the Ghost Tactical Hotline presented by our good friends over at Wilder Tactical. That number is 530-364-467. It is scrolling down below. And go check out our good friends over at Wilder Tactical. Some of the best gear out there. Veteran-owned and operated. Really good people. And some of the stuff that I use all the time is Wilder Tactical. So go check them out as well. I want to take a few minutes to talk about our good friends over at Walk the Talk America. They started this about 5 years ago, and they're really trying to bridge the gap between mental health and firearm ownership. And they're great people. So Mike Sedini over there started it. He's got a great staff over there, a great board. They are really trying to improve the quality of mental health resources for gun owners, anyone really, but especially for gun owners, and maybe by talking about it and educating people more, break away some of the negative stigmas, and in fact, hopefully cut down the suicide rate by gun, suicide rate in general, but especially by gun. They have a great podcast that they do every Friday on their YouTube channel, Walk the Talk America. It's called Guns and Mental Health. I suggest anyone and everyone go check that out. You're able to take if you're interested, if you think you might be having issues, you're more than able to take a free anonymous mental health screening on their website. And there's a lot of resources over there as well. Go check out our friends over at Walk the Talk America at WTTA.org or walkthetalkamerica.org and utilize them as much as possible. They're great people, great friends of ours personally, and obviously the channel. They are not sponsoring this by any means. I just want to continue to push their message out for you. We are spotlighting, as always, the United States Marine Corps. If you have any questions on what it takes to earn the title of United States Marine, see the website marines.com. And as always, we're a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. Go check out all your favorite pro-gun, pro-2A podcasts over at selfdefenseradio.net. Take this off of my ugly mug and bring in the crew for the night. From Anderson Manufacturing. What's up, Kyle? How are you?
What's up, Ghost? What's up, FaceTube?
FaceTube. I don't even know where I'm not even on Facebook. So how the hell Facebook could even come into
You've been watching too much Polite Society podcast. That's what it is.
Apparently.
On the Self-Defense Radio Network. So.
Yes, that's exactly what's happened. Yes, you know me well.
Meta is everywhere, Ghost.
They are. It's so funny because I had to change my password on Instagram, and it says, "Would you like to connect to Facebook page?" And I was like, "No, I really don't. For those of you out there, I don't want to go into it a lot, but I don't know if he's going to be out there watching or listening tonight. First time in a long time, I talked on the phone with Midnight Range team, old Travis, and talked to him for a while on the phone. He just wanted me to convey everybody out there that he's doing well. Yeah, it was great talking to him. I miss talking to him. So he is alive and well and just working hard and living life at this point. But yeah, just wanted to let everybody know that a lot of people have been asking the last few months, what's going on with him? And, I don't know who this is, but it says totally not Wayne LaPierre. I love that. It says, hello, firearms enthusiasts. Don't forget Wayne still accepts donations to buy fancy new suits. That's fantastic. Yeah. Old Wayne. What's going on at Anderson? You guys, if you haven't checked it out, I put a video out over the weekend on the Frontline hashtag Team Quad Rail, the Quad Rail Frontline out there, and it's 10.5 inch. It's actually called a QR 10.5, right? So
yep,
it's out there. Go check it out. I know you guys are still crazy busy, aren't you?
Yeah, we're still busting at the seams as far as production goes. The hot thing right now at Anderson Manufacturing is our lightweight elite receiver sets. So if you haven't checked those out yet, go check them out. And obviously go check out after the podcast. Check out Ghost's video on the QR 10.5, man. Great video, Ghost. And that whole Frontline series is on the website as well.
Man, it's awesome. Really, 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 really good. Perfect weight distribution. Like that's one of the few things that I look for is the weight. It's great. I mean, and what I love about this quad rail, I don't know if it's some. There are some. I love quad rails, right? But there are some quad rails. Let's not fool ourselves. That you're gonna have to wear gloves with. It just chew hands up sometimes. Maybe too sharp edges, or I don't know why, but there's just some quad rails. This one, I mean, you don't have to wear a glove. It's not going to chew your hand up, which is really, really good. And there'll be some more videos. Put a few more 100 rounds through. There'll be some more videos. I'm going to add a little quick plug for Monstrum Tactical, but we've got the Arc Saber weapon mounted light system I'm going to throw on there. Oh. And I tell you what, and I know we talked a little bit about it on the video, and Kyle, you and I have talked about it a lot on the phone leading up to this, but I put the LPVO, the Monstrum Tactical Banshee on there, and I wasn't sure on that 10.5 inch frame would it look weird or not, and I think it looks pretty badass. So yeah, I didn't know if it's gonna be too big, how it would look, but what'd you think, Kyle? You like the way it looks on there?
I think it looks clean, Ghost. I'm excited most though to see the results because I mean, I just want to see how it does, at 100 yards or.
Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is, and this is going to be something that you and I talked about on the phone. I called you. I forgot back from the range last week and talked about some things. But one of the things I want to do is I'm a big believer on the 36-yard zero. Now, that is typically with 55 grain, at least for me, a 55 grain 5.56 with a 16-inch barrel rifle, right? I want to put this 5.56 in a 10.5 inch barrel on this frame. And I want to set the LPVO to a 36-yard zero, but I want to kind of see ballistically with a 10.5 inch versus a 16-inch barrel. The 36-yard zero goes from 0 to basically up to 300 within a 6-inch grouping. It's a battlefield zero. But I want to know kind of what happens with that 10.5 inch barrel. Is it now a 250 yard, zero, battlefield zero? How, where will it stretch out? Because I've never really kind of put that 36-yard zero to the test with a 10.5 inch barrel. So it'd be kind of fun. But yeah, we're definitely going to do some testing with that and all of that. So looking forward to it. Faux shizzle from the great state of Texas, my home state. Guys, it's so weird. I've lived in Arkansas now longer than I lived in Texas. Isn't that weird? Like to say Am I still a Texan, Clover, or am I in Arkansas now? I mean, I like to think that I'm always going to be a Texan, right?
I will allow it.
You'll allow it. I'm glad. The gatekeeper himself. You know what? I'm going to quit calling him the tactical virus from the great state of Texas, the gatekeeper of all that is Texas, Clover Tack. What's up, man?
Oh yeah, I like that.
The gatekeeper of Texas. Yeah. Is that something you can be down with?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'll allow it.
You'll allow it. We'll see. He got the stamp of approval. Let's say hi to all of the channel members out there. So far, I think Buck's out there, Tactical Fud, Snob's out there, Gizzard Gary's out there, and Gizzard puts out a member for 17 months. If you guys are interested in becoming channel members, there's a join button somewhere. You can click that. We've got several different tiers, and it'll cost you about $1 at the lowest tier, if $1 a month if you want to do that. Great, which don't have to by any means. Just throwing it out there. Clove, you've been a little busy, man, the last few days. I know we talked a little bit about on the Ghost of Clover, but as if he needed anything else in his life, he is becoming an aficionado on the 3D printing side.
Dude, it's awesome.
Yeah, you've been sending me pictures of these different hand stops and all that are pretty badass. Now, here's a question for you. You sent me pictures of 3 or 4 different hand stops that you've already printed. I like the big one. And obviously these were made for kind of M-lock right now, but I know that you said you were going to try to find some that are for rail systems. Have you found? So you did find some designs. Okay.
Yeah, it's printing right now. Maybe done by the time we get off. But yeah, I've got a pick rail version printing. It's a little short, stubby one, but hey, that's what you said.
That's what she said. Yeah. I live with short and stubby, so that's what it is. I should say my wife lives with short and stubby.
So what's cool? I know you like a karambit.
I love karambit, and that's a pretty cool. It's like a razor blade. Is that what that was?
I have never owned a karambit until today, but I now own a karambit that I made.
So I'm a huge karambit. So I love karambits for some. They're a fighting knife. Let's just be honest. They're not something that you. They're not like this one where it's just you can do whatever you want to with it. That's a great Gerber.
Mine's more a letter opener or a box opener.
I get it. But let me ask you this, because with it. Oh, I guarantee it. But Kyle, are you a karambit fan at all? I mean, do you like karambits at all? The design? Not really.
Not that I dislike them. I just never got into it. Yeah.
No, I get it. But now that you've kind of printed one, Clove, I know you've held them. You've been around.
No, I'm not interested in probably. No,
it's not something that's going to change your mind.
Nah. But it was cool because I didn't have one, so it was cool to. When I found that file, I'm like, oh snap! Like, I got to do that. So yeah, it's for those that are curious, it's a fixed blade karambit, and it's made where you put a razor blade, basically.
Yep.
In it. So.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah. I might actually have you make one for me before we go to Dallas.
Yeah, so. I mean, for a box opener or a letter opener, worked real good.
Oh, by the way, I forgot to text you, and I know this is something that we don't want to talk about publicly and all that, but I took a look at that house, and if you're good with it, I'm good with it. So
okay, yeah, I thought.
Just let me know. Let me know.
Looks pretty nice.
Found a place to stay in Dallas for NRAM, and go ahead and book in that. But anyways. You guys are going to be at NRAM. I mean, I'm assuming there, Kyle, right? You're going to have maybe a dinner. Now, do you guys have dinners planned already? Are you going to be free for maybe a dinner or something?
Oh yeah. Come on now. We should get everybody together again.
We should, we had a good time in Indianapolis, had a little porch party, if you will, and ordered some pizza. And I don't know if the place we're staying at will be conducive to that, but we'll figure out something. Hell, we could go to Chuck E. Cheese's or something if we need to.
From what I've seen, it's got a pretty big outdoor patio area.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I know that it has the availability. I don't know. Do they, there's some people that rent their houses out that say, hey, no parties, no get-togethers and all of that. Yeah, I'm not saying we're going to trash the place, but
but parties and just having a few people over are two different things. So
this is true.
I think I drank 4 or 5 Coca-Colas when I was at the last one.
Yeah, maybe 4 or 5 Diet Coke. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. That's the last time I got to see Roll Call, as a matter of fact. And I don't know if Ro's going to make it to NRAM or not. Probably not, since it's in Dallas. But it's always good to see people you don't get to see very often. We get to see a bunch of people a few times a year at SHOT and TriggerCon and at Goals and all that. Oh, snap. Look at this. Brooke Cheney out there. Great. Why? Thank you, Brooke, but you don't have to do that. But you guys need to go check Brooke's channel. And Saturday night, speaking of mental health, she does a fantastic job. She does a podcast, live stream, whatever you call it. I call them podcasts because we put them on podcasts. I'm not sure if she puts hers on podcast form or not. But Saturday nights, and the time kind of differs with her schedule and all that, but Saturday nights that she's got a mental health podcast that is phenomenal. So go check that out. Thank you, Brooke. I appreciate you very much.
Check that out.
Yeah, she does a great job for sure. Defense Dad says, I see gun people. Where? I don't know. Every Thursday, Saturday, and Monday, you guys know that we have the pony polls. I want to hear your guys' answers out there in the chat. The first one went out yesterday. It's got 1.4 thousand votes. I wish John was here because I'd give him hell, because both these bands were, so one of them had a big early 90s resurgence, but they became who they were in the 80s. And obviously Duran Duran was the 80s also. But Kyle, Duran or Def Leppard, if you had to choose one?
Def Leppard.
Okay, so you're more of like the rock versus the synth pop of the 80s.
Yep, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not very familiar with Duran Duran either, to be honest.
Okay, well, do yourself a favor and just Duran YouTube sometime, and I guarantee you they have several songs that that you probably just didn't know were Duran. So
gotcha. Yeah, there's a lot of those out there.
Yeah, Clove, Duran or Def Leppard. And we'll say one-armed Def Leppard. How about that?
Oh,
so it might change your vote.
No, either way, I believe one-armed Def Leppard is better, but either way, it's Def Leppard.
Yeah. Not LaPierre says, what has 7 arms that sucks? I think that's a Def Leppard joke because they don't have 8 anymore, unfortunately. So I'm not a big Def Leppard guy, I mean, I like some of their songs. The problem with Def Leppard is that whole, was it Hysteria with Pour Some Sugar on Me and all of that? I think that got so overplayed that I just got sick of Def Leppard. Same thing as I got sick of REM, and I don't like REM anymore because they just got so overplayed. So I personally like Duran better than Def Leppard, but I think a lot of it's because just Def Leppard just got so overplayed. It's just me maybe. 1.4 thousand votes. 83% agree with Clover and Kyle. It said Def Leppard. 83-17. That was kind of an ass whooping. Let's just be honest about it. Let's see here. Where did one of mine get taken down? Did my Saturday poll get taken one day ago? Let me refresh this. It's not pop. There it is. All right. That was actually Saturday's poll. Yesterday's poll got 1.8 thousand votes already. It's going to be hard, guys. And it may not be hard for Clover. For me, it's kind of hard because I love both of them. Chinese food or Mexican food? Clover, we'll start with you.
Oh, Mexican food.
Yeah, I figured that was.
Yeah. I like Chinese food too, but Mexican food without a doubt.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd go without a doubt with either one of them. I think if I was standing in front in a strip mall, because that's where most of them are, little strip centers, and they'll have a Chinese place and a Mexican place. If I had those right in front of me, I could go left or right. I think I probably would go Mexican, but it'd be tough. It'd be really tough. Kyle, Mexican food or Chinese food, man? And no Cincinnati chili. I don't want Cincinnati chili brought up in this at all.
I can't pick Skyline here. No,
nope. Skyline does not fit in this discussion.
No, I gotta go. I hate to go with the crowd, but I gotta go Mexican too. It's a whole experience, man. You get the
I get it.
Chips and salsa. Usually a birthday party going on every night somewhere.
And if you're lucky, they've got a what do they call a mariachi band playing?
Oh man, yeah, that's
wrong with that, you know.
It's a whole
Defense Dad
experience.
said more specifically Texican food. That's probably more fair. Tex-Mex is pretty damn good. Pretty damn good, because Tex-Mex is not the same thing as Mexican food. They're both completely different, and I love traditional Mexican food, but sometimes Tex-Mex is pretty satisfying as well.
As long as you're not in Tulsa.
Well, this is true too. This is true. I will say, if you're ever in San Antonio, and I don't even know if it's there, but when I was living down there, there's a place on the Riverwalk on the lower part of the lower. So if you've ever been to the Riverwalk, there's an upper part and lower part. On the actual Riverwalk on the lower part, there's a place. There was a place called the Original Mexican Restaurant. It's down there forever, and I hope it's still there. But that's the place you go and they sit down. They bring you your drinks or whatever, and in this cart, they roll this cart. Hey, would you like some salsa or guacamole? Absolutely, both of them, right? Well, they make the salsa and they make the guacamole like fresh right in front. Like they take the avocados and they make it right there in front of you. And it's, if you people have never had true fresh salsa or true fresh guacamole, you're missing out in this life.
The Mexican food place we ate at the second night, I think it was, of the GOA event was what am I thinking here? Damn it. Was they did the same thing, had the little cart, did it all right there.
Oh, so good. Yeah. Now, Defense Dad asked a legitimate question. Is an egg roll basically a Chinese chimichanga? That's a fair question. It's a fair question. It could be worded as a chimichanga, just not a Mexican egg roll. That's a dilemma the internet's going to have to figure out. That might need to be a poll question. Just saying. That might have to be a poll question sometime.
I think you just broke my brain with that one.
The Matrix might have just gotten broken. Now, I'm going to have to, any of my mods out there can boot Sarge for me, because he's just lost his freaking mind. He says, folks in Texas don't have good Mexican food. You got to come to North Carolina to get Mexican. Yeah, because when I think Mexican food, I think North Carolina. Hey. Like, they don't call it, hey, there's Tex-Mex, but then there's NC-Mex, and apparently that must be better. I think he's lost his damn mind.
When I pulled recruiting duty, now I don't have much experience in Texas, but when I pulled recruiting duty, I recruited in Sarge's area, and dude, the Mexican food is off the chain.
In Carolina?
I swear. What are those?
But you're from Ohio, and you say that Skyline and Cincinnati chili is good, so I really don't trust your taste buds that much.
Skyline's absolute fire, first off. Second off, the tamales in that area are, oh my God.
I will say this. If you can find a good place that makes quality tamales might be the hardest thing a Mexican restaurant or a Mexican menu to make, because we're talking literally 10 or 15 seconds too much, and they're completely dry and they taste like crap. I still don't believe it. I still you and I were talking about me coming up to Cincinnati sometime this summer and watching a ball game. First of all, people know that I'm a huge Cincinnati Reds fan. Obviously, Kyle's living right outside of Cincinnati. I don't have to go do that. Now there's a part of me that says next time in North Carolina, I don't want to make a trip to North Carolina, because I just have nothing to. But now I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued.
Come to Cincy. We'll take a road trip to go see Sarge after the game.
So here's the thing: if I come to Cincy, you have to promise me something.
Yes, I will take you to Skyline.
You will not take me to Skyline.
Yeah, I already knew where this was going. Yeah, I'll at least have you sample it. You got to.
Defense Dad says that's kind of like saying you got to fly to California from Nebraska to get a good steak. Omaha steaks aren't bad. Omaha steaks aren't bad at all. I remember it's probably maybe a decade ago, maybe more than that. We bought one of those Omaha Steak like year thing where you buy and they come in like frozen, like vacuum sealed, but like I don't even know, it was 30 or 40, 50 steaks or whatever, and it was like a year's supply of steaks, and they were pretty damn good. Just saying. Chili should have beans in it. Yes, sir. You're correct. And now RTAC out there says Gold Star. Is there like a riff between the two? No.
No, no riff.
Like, can you like both, or do you have to choose Skyline or Gold Star? Is it like a choice?
Oh, you have to make a choice. Yeah. You
okay, so there's not like you can like both, right?
Well, no.
No, that's okay. That's fair. 1.8 thousand votes. 68% said Mexican food over Chinese food. 68 to 32. Doesn't surprise me. Fa ra 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 ra. Last poll question. 2.3 thousand votes. Pretty simple. Start with you, Kyle, and hear you guys out there in the chat as well. 44 Magnum or 45 ACP?
45 ACP.
45 ACP. Why is it 1-2 World Wars?
That's it. You know me all too well.
Clove, what about you, bro?
That's tough, man.
I figured that might be tough for you.
That's so tough. I'm going to go 45 ACP, I think. Though.
Really? I was not expecting that. Not expecting that.
It's much more enjoyable. The recoil impulse is just much more enjoyable. You're slinging about the same amount of lead anyway. So, yeah.
Yeah, you can definitely shoot 45 ACP a lot more in one day than you can 44 Magnum. At least comfortably,
And you got a lot more choices, honestly, as to what you shoot it in. I mean, you had you get the 45 and you get 45 ACP and, PCCs and.
Well, you can go 44 mag and like a sweet little lever action too, though,
Well, that's true, but it's not going to be semi-auto.
This is true.
So, yeah.
Defense Dev says 45 ACP because I have flashbacks to my buddy's snubby 44 Magnum and my wrist hurt. You're going to hurt, man. That's part of it. But that's kind of like that's kind of like the fun of the 44 Magnum, right? That's just it's going to happen,
Right. Yeah. Yep.
But yeah.
It's just a lot more variety.
Yeah, no, I think 45 ACP. Yeah. Sorry says we'll go somewhere good in Knoxville as long as it's not a pizza place. Like I don't do pizza.
Well, they're out because that's the only place they eat.
Right. But yeah,
if you leave it up to Snob, he'll pick the crappiest Mexican food joint in Knoxville. So
but we'll definitely have to do another get together dinner in Knoxville for sure. And Kyle. Are y'all? I'm assuming y'all are going to go to Knoxville. That's not too far for you guys, is it?
No, that's right down the road. I think 4 hours, maybe tops.
Yeah. Have you guys discussed going to that one this year?
Oh yeah, we'll be there.
Oh, nice. So yeah, we'll find us a spot and definitely do that. 2.3 thousand votes, 70%. Say that 45 AARP is the answer. So 70 to 30. I figured 45 would win, but I honestly didn't think it was going to be like that bad. RTAC says Knoxville has 2,000 Mexican food joints. Man, I don't know.
And they all probably suck. But
there's got to be one good one. Like you got to figure there's got to be one good one in Knoxville. It's a college town, so it's probably several of them. You'd have to think. Like that's kind of part of being a college town. You got to have at least one good Mexican joint in a college town.
Find the most rundown, like ratty
hole in the wall.
That's
absolutely,
probably the best one.
Guarantee it. That's the best barbecue joints for sure. The best and I'm not a huge barbecue guy, right? But the best barbecue joint I've ever been to was at an old gas station that, honest to God, I didn't know was open. Like it was just beat to hell, run down. And the only reason why I knew it was open, and I didn't know what it was, but the line went out around the block. Like there's probably been a couple hundred people in this line. I'm like, what's going on at that gas station? The guy I'm driving with says, this is outside of, it's an old Mississippi town, right outside of Tunica, Mississippi. The guy says, oh my God, before we come home, we got to stop by. They have the best barbecue. And I was like, really? It was the best barbecue I ever had. And I'm not a pulled pork barbecue. It's a Memphis style barbecue, kind of sweet in that pulled pork, which I'm not a huge fan of. But it was pretty damn good. Like you said, it was that old rundown like gas station from like the 50s that you didn't know was still open. And the gas station's not open. It's just a barbecue joint. And that guy's been there for 40 years probably, and probably hadn't changed much in there in the 40 years. Probably the same smokers he's had for 40 years. It was amazing.
That's interesting because one of the best ones around here, and it's not open anymore, was also in an old rundown gas station.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. And the awning part where all the pumps were.
Yep.
There wasn't any pumps there anymore, but they had picnic tables out there.
Nice.
I don't remember this having picnic tables, but that's where people parked. It was like in the old, but yeah, it was, man, it was, no, you didn't miss a damn thing, Snob. We're talking about food where we're going to eat in Knoxville. Sarge swears that there's good Mexican food in Knoxville, but we're talking about where we're going to eat in Knoxville. We'll have a little get together if you want. I just said no pizza. As long as it's not pizza, I'm down with it. But yeah, some of those best ones are holes in the wall. Man, yeah, I love it. All right, those are the pony polls. Go check out our good friends over at AndersonManufacturing.com. I don't know if it's still available. Can you still use coupon code GHOST? I didn't know if it was still run or not. You guys kept that going.
Yep.
Save 10%, guys, or whatever it is. Save some money. If you're over at Anderson Manufacturing, use code GHOST to buy all your stuff and all that. If you want to save a little bit of money, go do that. And it's not something that it's not an affiliate thing, so I don't get it. I just do that. Go buy yourself some good Anderson stuff and save a little bit of money. So thank you, Anderson, for doing that as well. Slim Jims. We're talking about Slim Jims. They're not candy bars. We're talking about that shit. But yeah, go check out our buddies over at AndersonManufacturing.com. Hashtag on their social media, Pony Express 2024. Hashtag Pony Express 2024. We're going to make this happen. All right. We're going to talk a little bit about, we had scheduled a Risk Any Arms to come in, and there's some different stuff going on with live streams and YouTube. And I didn't feel comfortable. I'm not going to lie. I didn't feel comfortable bringing on a firearms company for a little bit because I just want to kind of see how this plays out. That said, we're going to reschedule them for in April. Not a big deal. But tonight, we're going to do this next week, but we're going to go ahead and do it tonight. We've been talking a little bit over the last couple of months about home defense and all that. And tonight, what I want to do is talk about maybe a home defense plan. And we're not going to talk about how to set up your plan because everyone's different. You're going to do what you got to do. But what I wanted to talk about are some things that you can maybe include in that plan that maybe people don't necessarily think about when they start thinking home defense plans. Whether it's a home security, your perimeter of your house or your property or whatever, maybe some security systems or something. Obviously the firearms, but using Clover and I were talking, I don't know, yesterday, today, whenever it was, not about this, but talking about some non-lethal stuff with Umarex and all that. And non-lethal options are something that can come into home defense plans. Being able to communicate with emergencies like 911 or something like that, utilizing a plan that includes emergency communication. Obviously some legal considerations. That is a big one. It doesn't happen where I live because we don't have one. But I'm sure there's a lot of people. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Clove. I'll send you some money. Get a little, it kind of gets me going a little bit. Save me some money. But there's the thing that people don't think about is including, if you guys have like a neighborhood watch or whatever, including some of those aspects into security plans. So We're going to talk a little bit of all of those things, but what I want to do first is with Kyle and Clover. We're not, don't wait for you to be called out. Let's just kind of have a discussion. It's the three of us. We've been around each other a lot. That said, do you have, whether it's official, it's whatever, but do you in your household have some sort of a home defense plan if something should happen?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I hate talking about it, especially publicly. Just
no. Like I said, I'm not asking you to go into your plan because but some people don't even have or never even thought about what do we do if something like this happens.
Yeah, no, we it's definitely something that I guess my experience in the Marine Corps and stuff like that, just kind of a baseline that I like to keep. Have plans for not only like a home intruder or anything, but like natural disasters and all that.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Just having a plan in general. Nothing too strict or stringent. There's like some loose guidelines that we can follow and make it to safety somehow. So
that's right. Clove, what about you guys? Do you guys have any unofficial or official or loose or whatever plans?
Yeah, I mean, I think pretty much everybody's got an idea or something basic. It's not nearly what it once was with kids around the house and all that.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the way the house is set up, and it's different now that the kids. It's just a whole different ball of wax,
Well, and especially in the next year or so, when you guys do the little tiny home, then I mean, hell, you'll be able to sweep that house in about 3 seconds.
I'll install booby traps all around and build them into it.
Said booby trap.
Booty traps. I said booty traps. Speaking of that,
that's a nice reference. I
know. Have you watched the new season of Loki?
No, I haven't.
Okay,
I didn't know there was a new season of Loki.
That kid, Data, the booty trap kid from Goonies, is in it. And you will instantly you will not recognize him, but you will instantly,
did you recognize him?
By seeing him, you will not recognize him because he was a kid, right? But as soon as he opens his mouth, it is blatantly obvious who it is.
Nice.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Nice. That's awesome. I said booby traps. That's what I said.
It's a booty trap.
$50 bill. Wow. Do the dance. Oh, such a good movie. Great movies back in the 80s. And the Truffle Shuffle, baby. Yeah. Let's kind of start. I've got my list kind of written down here, and I wanted to kind of go through this, but perimeter stuff. And I'm not asking you to kind of go through what you guys have, because OPSEC is a thing. I don't want to do that. But that said, talk about securing the perimeter of either your house or your property or whatever. How big of an importance do you think that should be to someone's plan as perimeter? Because I think it's pretty important, only because if you can deter someone before they even get to your house, that's probably the ultimate goal, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those, make it more difficult than it's worth.
I'm not saying put claymores out there. I'm not saying that. Now, that would be awesome if you could get your hands on some claymores.
Right.
But yeah, there's got to be deterrence in your perimeter, right?
The old saying about keeping an honest person honest or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, there's a lot of deterrence. Man, the people that live next door to next door to next door and can literally see inside somebody's house from their house type. I couldn't live like that. That's one of the main things of where I live.
That's how I grew up, is zero lot lines. Like you could literally look out of your side window into the other people's side window, and it was kind of weird, but
yeah,
that's how I currently live, unfortunately.
Well, it's what it is, man.
That is. But I mean, in my situation, deterrence like motion sensor lights, those big floodlights,
absolutely,
stuff like that. Having my little Ring camera and different types of cameras set up and all that. That stuff's all deterrence. I mean, let's just be honest. If you really want to get past that, it's not too hard. But
Yeah.
But that's also where that neighborhood watch you spoke of earlier comes into play. Living in a community like that, as much as I like to leave work and like not socialize.
Do you stand post and go on patrol?
I do not go on patrol, but man, I have some retired old neighbors that do. So they do all day, every day, man. Like retired folks are great to have in your neighborhood.
Hell yeah.
The county road I'm on, it basically does a horseshoe, and there's four other houses. And those are the nosiest old people that you would ever want to live next to. And some of them's family, so I can actually say that with love.
For sure.
Some of the nosiest old people, there's not a car that's going to go up and down the road, motorcycle, four-wheeler, anything that they're not going to know the make, the model, the color, the license plate, how many people were in it. Like nosy people, dude. So like I do not worry about much because of, I've got all the deterrents here, obviously, and then, anybody that even comes down the road, like you're screwed. I mean, they're gonna know who you are, or they're gonna have a description anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, not Wayne out there says, I put signs up all around the Pierre compound. It says, we're Jehovah Witnesses and want to talk to you about extending your car's warranty. No problems anymore, criminals or visitors. I think that's fantastic. That's a great idea.
Great deterrent.
Great idea. Yeah, it's the simplest floodlights, or motion detection lights that pop on. Anything that will make some noise.
I heard of something interesting on, I think She Fires, one of her live streams. And she was talking about a neighbor that had some type of motion activated thing that her neighbor did not have a dog, but it was a motion activated voice thing or whatever that would bark like a dog when somebody walked past a certain part of the porch or whatever.
And if you could make it sound like, it's just some huge, just chopper sick balls.
It would growl and bark, like literally it would growl and bark.
Awesome. That is a really good idea.
I was like, that's interesting. I mean, if you've got a dog, your dog's probably going to do that. But if you, for whatever reason,
even if you have a dog, now it sounds like you have multiple dogs.
This is true. Yeah.
Maybe one outside and one inside, so that's a deterrent there as well.
Yeah, but I'd hate to have that. If I had, having a dog, I would hate for my dog to get lazy because I've got that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Scott says it's called a bark bell. Does that sound familiar?
Maybe. I don't know. I'd never heard of such a thing before. Not that I doubt that with technology that type of thing exists, but yeah, she was talking about it on her show, I don't know, a few weeks ago, and I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool for maybe people that live in apartments or something and can't have pets or whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't know there was such a thing. That's pretty cool. Anything that kind of, once again, we're not talking about, we don't want to put people in like, bear traps and cut their leg off if they come well, I'm saying we don't want to do that, but probably don't want to do that. That might come into the legal considerations later on, but if you can, once again, I think so many people focus on home defense being once there's an intruder in the house, and home defense is if they don't get to your house, even better, right? Something as simple as a barbed wire fence. Why do you think prisons, which always kind of was weird to me, Kyle, I don't know if you ever thought about this, things make you go, prisons have 20-foot high fences with concertina wire at the top. So do military installations. I don't understand, like, why do they need to feel they put 20-foot fences with concertina wire around? Are they trying to keep us in? Like, I don't understand. Like, why is a military facility kept the same way as a prison? I don't know. Things make you go,
I think it's to keep people off the training grounds.
Hopefully. I do too. Yeah.
But
yeah, there's a lot of people that would not want to be in a training zone for sure.
No. And to kind of go off what you were saying about the deterrence too, I kind of translate that a little bit to what I learned in the military.
Yeah.
It's kind of like your escalation of force, if you really think about it.
Yeah.
And then also another caveat to go off the floodlight thing is if it's happening at night and the floodlight shines in that person's eyes and they enter your home, now you have basically a blind person because their eyes have adjusted to that light, and they're in your house, and you definitely have the advantage at that point. Because
I want to make sure that I put this disclaimer out there. Because mandatory carry says, I like the idea of bear traps. Guess I have to go buy one. Thanks, Ghost. I'm not in the business of telling people they should go buy bear traps for their perimeter. That was not conveyed in a way that I recommend that. I simply brought that up, and what you do with that is completely your doing. So, no, for sure. Obviously, security systems is one. A lot of people don't like the security systems. They are to some extent a pain in the ass. But if you're a person that's not going to be home a lot, you travel quite a bit or something, having a security system that's going to alert police or neighborhood security or whoever it goes to, maybe while you're not home or something, is nice. I'll tell you the part of our security system that I don't necessarily have it because I want the alarm. Every time you open any door or any window in the house, it ding dong, like it chimes. And so at 2:00 in the morning, if a window opens or a door is open, you hear that ding dong. That's a pretty good indication that if my wife's in bed, there should be no open windows or doors happening right now, Yeah. No, we know you're not normal mandatory carry. We've made that abundantly clear for years. You're my favorite psycho, but you are still a psycho. And he was talking about home security. Like mandatory carry, we all know he lives in a padded house, right? A padded room. Because when you're psycho, you have to live in a padded room.
Common knowledge.
The state almost requires padded rooms. So for home defense for you, mandatory carry, is it like you put an extra layer of padding on there, or how does that work? So just let me know what you think about that. No, I'm just messing with you, buddy. Landmines work fine. Sure, they do. Landmines, moats. There's a reason why old castles had moats with snakes and alligators. That was home security. You're not going to come into our castle because we're going to put a freaking big ass river around it with alligators and hippos and snakes and all of that, but all sorts of stuff. The perimeter is a perimeter, right? But as far as security goes, Kyle, what do you think about like having a security system? Is that something that you think is worthwhile, or maybe a waste of money, or where do you fall down on a security system?
No, I think security systems are definitely worthwhile, especially the ones that do like the whenever something trips, they're right there and they're talking, whatever the case may be,
speakerphone or whatever.
Yeah. But one thing I would recommend too, and I learned this kind of in my being married as a PFC days, balling on a budget, if you will.
Hell yeah.
Even if you don't have a security system, if you don't have a security system, get on Amazon and buy a security system sign and plop that bad boy in your front yard.
And I tell you another thing that you can do. You can on Amazon, a lot of different places, you can buy actual security cameras that actually kind of hook up to a battery, and there's like a red light shining on, like flashlight. It's recording. Most people aren't going to know if you actually have security cameras recording or not, but that might be something to consider as well.
Yeah.
Clove, what about you? We're talking security systems, not saying that you need to have one. Where do you fall? Are you pro security system at the house or anti, or not really care?
I'm okay with it. I mean, I've never, back up and not say never. I'm not going to tell what I've got or what I don't got. But yeah, it depends on if you're talking like cameras or the whole shebang with like the monitoring service, but there's pretty cheap ways to go with a lot of that.
There is, yeah. Especially stuff now that's all Wi-Fi based and all that. You don't have to hardwire all these cameras and all that. You got Wi-Fi at the house. They can hook up to a system and monitor from your phone, if you will. There's all sorts of stuff you can do.
That's what I was saying. Nowadays it'll go to your phone, and you don't have to have the pay the $19.99 a month, whatever it is, for the monitoring service stuff. So yeah, I mean, I guess if people feel better that way, that's fine. But I mean, with the doorbell cameras and the little things like that, I mean, man, nowadays it's probably enough. I mean, if they're coming in through the front door anyway, I guess if they're coming in through a window or something like that.
Yeah.
But odds are they're probably going to leave through the front door. So
probably.
Either way,
they might come in. They might come in a different way, but they're going to leave through a door.
Probably. Yeah, it's going to be kind of hard to tote stuff out a window. So
yeah. And like Kyle was saying, if you can't afford a security system, just buying a sign that says security, you're on candid camera or whatever.
Oh, that's that happens.
It's a huge thing. Like I said, you can go buy for $10 or $15. Yeah. Security cameras that aren't hooked up to anything. But it'll have a battery thing. You can have a little red light recording light, and you can put cameras up. And they're not. Do they know that they're not real? They see cameras that are on. That might be a deterrent as well. There's all sorts of stuff that you can do.
Yeah, again, deterrent. It's all deterrent, right?
Deterrent. And let's be honest, guys. No matter what we talk about tonight, as far as deterrents of perimeters, security, and all that, let's just be honest. If they want to come in your house, they're going to come in your house. They don't care about security, perimeter setups. If they want to come in bad enough, then they're going to come in. Let's be honest about that, right? So, and obviously firearms, and we'll talk more firearm stuff relation maybe a little bit later, but we want to talk maybe some non-lethal stuff. And like I said, Chloe and I were talking about Mark over at Umarex and talking about some really good non-lethal stuff they have. Something and when you talk about that, I started thinking, my wife, you guys know that Yoko is not a huge firearm person. Matter of fact, she doesn't like firearms. She grew up in a culture that they don't have them, and she doesn't like them. That said, I never even really thought about it, but that could be kind of an idea of maybe getting some non-lethal, whether it's bean bags or pepper balls or different things like that could still do some damage and deter people, but might be non-lethal. That might be something that I need to get for Yoko. But let's talk about non-lethal stuff. Is there, there's different stuff that you can do that will get your point across and get people to leave either your house or your perimeter, your property, whatever, that won't kill them, which I think is fine. I mean, I'm not trying to end people's lives. I just want them to leave me alone, right? What do you guys think about non-lethal stuff?
Non-lethal is great, especially in your instance. And my wife was the same way for the longest time. Did not like shooting, did not feel comfortable handling guns. Yeah. We've kind of slowly worked our way past that now, and everything is good on that end. But I mean, we have tasers that she used to carry back in the day, mace for sure. She always had that keychain mace. Yeah. Those are really the only non-lethals that I have experience with, besides like the Cheeto rounds for the 203.
Sure.
But yeah, I think they're a great option, especially in an instance like yours goes.
I think I think if I could ever get my wife to the range and get her to pull some trigger, I think that she'd probably enjoy it, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen. G-Web's out there is getting a little upset for Gary. He says, note to self, Gary isn't expecting a roof attack. A roof attack could be really, really fun if you have any kind of, Kyle, I mean, I know I enjoyed, I'm sure you did too, but I love rappelling. I thought that was really fun. We did a lot of rappelling work and training and all that. It would be fun to strap up and maybe do some roof rappelling and bust in like, some of the great movies in the 80s had as people rappelling in and busting through windows. That'd be so much fun.
Oh, so man. Yeah, Gary, watch out. You might have some dad bod operators dropping through, big guy.
just for fun at this point.
From the high ground.
Just for fun. Yeah, exactly. Chloe, want to bring you in non-lethal. Where do you fall out on non-lethal?
I don't know. I don't particularly care for the non-lethal. To be honest with you, I mean, if you're in a situation, where you have to defend yourself, then you have to freaking defend yourself. And so, you know what I mean? Like if you
I get it.
Got to that point to make that choice, here's what gets me, and here's kind of where I come down on that, right? Is so justified is justified. It's not really going to matter whether it's lethal or non-lethal or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day. Now, what I'm going to have to deal with if I pull the trigger as opposed to pepper spray, right? The aftermath, whatever.
Sure.
It's definitely going to be different.
A little bit, yeah.
But if you look at law enforcement, so I know law enforcement, LEOs that have, used their firearm, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I know them that have used pepper spray and have used tasers, and like the report they file is the same if they do that unwarranted or whatever, right?
Yep.
Like the repercussions are all the same. Like there's really no difference. So
sure. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if it's an unjustified thing, I don't know that, are you going to get tagged for, assault instead of manslaughter or something? I mean, I don't know, so just go big or go home, I guess.
No, I tend to agree. I think that maybe
now, there's certain situations, right? But we're talking home.
Sure.
This whole conversation is home, and I don't
know.
Home
defense, yeah.
I don't know of a situation in the home that I wouldn't rely on the firearm. I mean,
well, for me, yes. Something for Yoko, that might be something that.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't want to tell your business. I don't want to tell your business, but I have overheard the conversation
yes,
down, and like
yes.
Again, I don't want to tell you.
That's not the case. Yes,
but you're saying that, and at the same time, that's not the situation either. So,
no, I get it. But no, I mean, and it might be having something here for Yoko might be something, but someone out there listening might have a thing where someone might not like firearms, scared of them, don't agree with them, have a how do I put this, a ethical thought process that they don't want to do that, and let there are non-lethal options out there that maybe
oh man,
I tell you what, if you go BB or airsoft with a fully automatic like MP5 and you shoot someone with like 1,000 different BBs in about 30 seconds, they're probably going to leave you. I'm just saying, they're going to leave you alone.
Well, and then there's the pepper ball technology that Uber has now. There's actually a still BB in the ball, and so what that does is it will that pepper ball will break heavy clothing, whatever it hits, it's going to break because of the momentum of the steel BB inside is going to break the shell regardless, right? And so you don't have situations with that where you fire a pepper ball and it doesn't break. And so super reliable. They even have them now to where they run off CO2 and it doesn't even pierce the CO2 cartridge until you pull the trigger the first time.
Yeah, sure.
Right. So like a BB gun could have a leak in a seal or, something like that. Whereas the some of the CO2 pepper balls, it's a fully sealed CO2 cartridge until the first time you pull the trigger. So you got every bit of that pressure, that air, on demand like that. So technology's come a long way in the non-lethal. And I mean, I are there situations in the home where people could? Man, the only one, like you mentioned, that is like they're just dead set against it. And it's like you're dead set against firearms for whatever reason. Then okay, but I think people like that need to take a good long hard look at what is their deterrent situation. Is it robust enough? But even then, you've got to think, if you've got deterrence, right, and somebody has made it past all of those deterrents.
Yep.
Is a pepper ball going to be effective?
Well, once again, if they've made it through all the prerequisites to get inside your house, they're probably pretty determined. You know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is a pepper ball going to be that effective? Or I'll a baseball bat, or I'll do this. If it's sick people you want, or it's whatever.
Right. Now, G-Web says a lot of people have 9mm shooters in their home, even if they don't like to admit it, and that's kind of like being unarmed people to need to protect. So, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I will say this. Snob brought up a great point. We're talking about people that object to firearms. He says, what about a person who is not allowed to own a firearm due to something they might have done early in their life that got their rights taken away? Someone who's not allowed to own firearms. In that scenario, is maybe some non-lethal stuff worth it, or what?
Black powder revolvers. The folks.
There you go. There you go.
They have black powder revolvers. Seriously.
I'll take it back to what you guys talked about too. Those Umarex MP5s and all that. Like, I've shot the Umarex MP5, and that thing is bad.
Yeah, they're going to hurt, especially if you get 1,000 of them in 30 seconds shot at you. It's going to hurt you enough to say, you know what, this ain't fucking worth it. Let's just be honest. I'm out of here.
I was planking a tree, and it chewed that tree up pretty good. So
yeah, oh yeah, it's good stuff. Let's see here. I'm getting a text. I don't know if this is a personal or if this is. Exactly. Yes, it is, Snob. And totally not Wayne LaPierre. It's good to see you again, buddy. We'll just put it that way. Yes, it's great. Let's kind of talk a little bit about emergency communications when it comes to a plan. Is this something that goes into your plans? Like, does someone have a designated job? Say, hey, if something happens inside the house, it's XYZ's job is to call 911 or calling 911 or communicating with emergency services. Where does that fall in? Is it just something like you say, well, one of us will call 911, or do y'all have a designated person who does that? Clover, Kyle, which one? Everyone wants to start.
Here, okay. So if you call 911 here,
probably the same thing it is here.
Now, let me back up to say if it's a medical emergency and you need an ambulance, that's a little different situation than I need law enforcement, right?
Yeah.
Law enforcement is going to be 30 minutes, easy.
It's about 15 here, to be honest with you.
So like easy 30 minutes. Like ambulance.
And this is over in 3 minutes, probably, maybe less than that.
Probably half that. You can get an ambulance. You can get an ambulance in about 15. But I mean, honestly, if you got to get to the emergency room, hopefully you got somebody that can throw you in a car and drive you, because that's the best scenario out here. But yeah, law enforcement, you're on your own, bro. I mean, period. I mean, 30 minutes, you forget it. I mean, I can drop them and bury them and go about my day. Finish eating my dinner, and by the time
that's the way it is in rural areas like where I live. One of my best friends is the sheriff. And no matter how good of friends we are, there ain't no way when you have 3 deputies at night and carrying the entire county, there ain't no way you're getting anyone within 15 minutes. I don't care how good of friends you are with the sheriff or chief of police or whatever. It is what it is,
Last I checked, the entire county here at over nighttime hours. So let's be honest, when are people?
That's when stuff goes down for sure.
Is there may be 2. I think last time
I think we have 3 in our entire county. Yeah,
and you're talking about if they're on a call now, east to west. It's a pretty big county, but east to west is not terrible.
Yeah,
but north to south is crazy. And so if they're down, and we're right in the middle. So either way, they're going to have to drive half the county,
Well, here's a problem that we have in our county. If you have a boat, it'll take you about 10 to 15 minutes to get from one side of the county to the other. There's a big ass lake in our county. Mm-hmm. And if you don't, the police aren't going by boat. Let's just be honest. They're going in a car, and it's going to take 45 minutes to drive around that lake. So you might get one deputy that might be in your area in 15 minutes. His backup isn't going to be there for another half an hour at the minimum, you know.
Well, see, we've got a similar situation in that we've got 3 rivers that come through. Yep. And so depending on where you're at, you have to go around to get a bridge to get across the river.
Yep.
So
yeah, there's no easy way here. I mean, you know, it is what
and
it
there's
is.
There's one spot, believe it or not, there's a corner, and my dad was a sheriff's deputy for years, and he always talked about this because he hated when he had to get in that little community in the county when he got a call out there, because he literally had to go, and it was because of the rivers and crossing bridges and getting to places, but he literally had to drive through another county to get to that section of ARC. He had to leave the county and come back into the county to get to that community. And it was like he always had to radio dispatch for that other county and let them know.
Like when he has to, I was say, when he leaves the county, does he have to notify them that he's going through their county? By the way, I'm gonna be hauling ass to a call.
I don't know that they had to, but I know that he talked about
courtesy, maybe.
He would radio dispatch and just let them know we got a call. You know, so-and-so Cherokee County, we got a call, we're coming through, you know.
And we're going to be hauling ass coming through your county, so,
Yeah. And he said most of the time they would, hey, if you need help, let us know, you know.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Kyle, what about emergency situations like that? Is it kind of someone's going to call? I mean, you're probably more in an urban area than Clover and I are, so
I am.
Police might not be 15, 20, half an hour away, you know?
No, they're not. We also got city police, we got county police, and then we got a state trooper station in our town. So
that helps.
But we're also a suburb of Cincinnati, basically, so the crime rate's a lot higher. So they're oftentimes pretty busy. But I mean, in that situation, I think the go-to is definitely going to be myself to contact. Otherwise, my family knows like communication is going to be key in that scenario, and I could delegate that too. So,
and it's one of those things where, you know, we're not saying these have to be part of a plan. We're not saying that. We're just giving you ideas for people that are thinking about maybe forming a plan of some sort or having an idea. And it could be something as simple as, hey, honey, get in the closet, call 911. You know, that's it. Get in the closet, call 911. And I got the rest, whatever, you know, that's as simple as that. But, you know, make sure that you have an idea of basically how it's going to happen. And I'll say this, if you call 911, whether it's you, a spouse, a child, or whatever, understand this. It's not one of those things, hey, 911, what's your emergency? Hey, I've got someone in my house, send someone quickly and hang up. No. Call them, say, someone's in my house. Can I stay on the line with you until someone shows up? They will. Do that for a couple reasons. One, they can maybe walk you through and help you actually do some stuff and all of that. But two, now you have an audio record of everything that's getting ready to happen until the police get there. And for court situations and legal considerations, having an audio file or an audio I don't even know what you call it, but a whole audio file of that entire incident could help in a certain situation. Plus, they probably want to stay on. They want to make sure, you know, most dispatchers are good people. They understand that, you know, they probably want to make sure things okay, because they also have to feed information to the police or the LEOs that are on their way. Hey, I'm on the phone with this lady, and I think there's 3 of them in this house now, and they're armed. And so the LEOs showing up to their property are now maybe prepared as they show up. This isn't just something that we think that there might be noises outside the door. It's escalated at this point. It's escalated. They've entered the house, and oh, by the way, they have weapons of some sort. So that helps everybody out. But stay on the line with the dispatch. Talk to if you can. More importantly, now you have a digital record of an audio record of that everything until the police get there. And then you can stay on while the police are there, but say once the police say, hey, the cops are here, they've made their way into the home, I'm going to let you go and talk to them. Boom, boom, boom. But remember, please, don't just call, tell them you need some help and hang up. That's not a good plan. Legal considerations. I mean, I wrote this down. I don't know if we really need to go into it besides to say, if someone has entered your property, especially entered your home, and anything has happened besides them walking in, looking around for 2 seconds, say, you know what, we're going to leave. And there's still legal considerations for that because it's still breaking and entering. But anytime something like that happens, understand there's going to be either criminal, if at the very least, some civil suits that probably could be filled. And especially if you get involved with any kind of injuries or firearms. Let's be honest. I'm not saying don't utilize your firearm and defend your home. I'm saying understand that the second that trigger is pulled, it's going to be a long night for you, probably. There's going to be a lot of questions, a lot of paperwork that's got to be filled out by the cops, a lot of interviews. It's going to be a longer night than just going back to bed when everyone leaves. That said, there are going to be legal considerations. Make sure that maybe if you want to, I'm not saying to do this, but you call 911. Once you're on with 911 and the LEOs, the officers arrive, and you get off the 911, if you have a lawyer or know one, that might be your next call and say, look, I wanted to let you know we've had someone break into the house and the police are on site, but as my lawyer, you might want to know about this. So, having a lawyer, not on retainer, and I'm not saying doing that, but I'm saying having a lawyer that that maybe a friend or them, and say, look, a local lawyer, in case something happens, that's the lawyer that I'm going to call. Always maybe have that number as well, because what happens if you get arrested or something? You see it on movies. Hey, honey, call the lawyer. If you've never discussed who the lawyer is, how is that person going to know who to call? At least have an idea of who you would call in a situation, whether you're being arrested or anything's happened. Knowing who you would call for law advice would be nice to know. And I recommend a local lawyer for that specific thing, and you can move on from there. But do you guys have family lawyers, or do you have a lawyer that you know who you would call if something went down one way or the other?
Yeah, I got a family friend that's a lawyer. Yeah.
There you go. Perfect. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not trying to get it all up in your business and with.
Well, it gets up into your carry insurance too, if you have.
This is true too. If you do have carry insurance, yes, 100%. A lot of that they'll be able to recommend or provide one for you in those situations. Yeah.
And then goes to kind of add on to the communication thing, because I'm a worst case scenario guy.
Sure.
So
you gotta prepare for it, man, just in case,
Yeah, I think kind of beyond like where there's an active police force out there that you can call, like literally shit hits the fan, like it's chaos.
Yeah.
I've been kind of training myself up and going to YouTube University on this bow thing I got.
Yeah.
So working a little bit with that. But I also, what's that?
You like it? Have you got it programmed yet or anything?
I like it. Very few channels right now, just kind of in the learning. And I'm actually contemplating getting my license too. But one of the things that I wanted to bring up too is that kind of that neighborhood watch you talked about at the beginning, that in a shit hits the fan scenario, like knowing those people and kind of being able to come together as a collective community definitely increases your chances of survival in a scenario like that. So,
we don't have one here. I mean, like, we live in a community, but like the average lot here is like an acre and a half or 2 acres. So we don't have like neighbors. And like I have hundreds of yards between the next person that lives by me. So it's not like they're neighbors. They probably won't know if something's happening. But yeah, if you do live in that scenario where there's a neighborhood watch, or you just live in a neighborhood that has a bunch of houses, make sure you get to know your neighbors and help them out because you might need their help sometime, and all that.
Now,
yeah.
Also on that one, Ghost, I got a question for you in that scenario.
Yeah.
Do you have people local to you that you train with and you shoot with?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that would be your little community. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh yeah, for sure. There's 2 or 3 people that are on in a group chat that all I have to do is send a text saying, "Here now,"
Yeah.
And for sure. Yeah, for sure. But that's a great thing to have as well. Is you got to have your own team, man. You gotta have some guys that are, what's that movie? You see it on Instagram and all that. It's like, hey, I need your help. I'm not going to tell you what we're doing. We can never talk about it. He's like, we're going to hurt some people. Whose car are we taking? Who's driving?
Yeah.
But you got to have some of those guys that are saying, hey, we're in this together, right? So
yeah,
absolutely.
I know that's a little outside of home.
The town, that's right. That's right. Not Wayne says the town. That's exactly what it is. Gio says, I don't talk to my neighbors, but staff talk to the neighbor's estate. If you've got a staff, if you've got a butler and you've got cleaning staff that live in your house like G-Webs does, then yes, for sure. If your estate staff can talk to your neighbor's estate staff, then that helps too. But I'm assuming if you have an estate that deserves a staff, you've probably got measures, whether it's a moat or tanks or whatever, 30-foot high castle walls. You've got all sorts of stuff that are deterrents to begin with, but yeah.
So I find it funny. Patriot in the Dark says, for some reason, all my neighbors know me. I get hellos all over town. Well, considering that you carry, they and they know that, they for sure want to make sure you know their voice.
This is true. This is true. Yes. Patriot relies heavily on audio.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm sure that everyone wants to make sure that you recognize their voice. Fantastic point, by the way. Yes. Let's see here. We talked about Neighborhood Watch. Here's something that I have down, and we're talking about emergency medical kits. We talked about the police being 15, maybe 20 minutes away, ambulance being, maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes away. In our areas, Kyle's probably a little bit different and all of that. That said, if someone is injured, if you or one of your family members are injured, and what kind of medical supplies do you have on hand? More importantly, is anyone, hopefully everyone, but is anyone besides you trained on how to stop the bleed or how to use a tourniquet or how to utilize a first aid kit, whatever it is? Having emergency aid medical kits and supplies available and someone that knows how to do certain things can save your life until that ambulance gets there. How important for you guys is having medical kits and supplies around the house? Is that something you guys think about, consciously?
I married a nurse, so it's pretty important.
This is true. That's why you married her, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, medical is definitely at the top of our list too. So
yeah,
I got a couple of kits just around the house in random spots. And then like my main kit is upstairs with all my stuff. So
absolutely. Patriot says, for Christmas, I bought everyone Quick Clot bandages. A lot of people never heard of them. You're right. I mean, a lot of people don't know that there is a such thing as Quick Clot.
Yeah.
And people don't understand tourniquets. I'm sure that they know what a tourniquet is, but has anyone ever practiced with it? It sounds bad. Now, understand this. There is a way to utilize a tourniquet, and there are unsafe ways to utilize a tourniquet. If you use a tourniquet the wrong way, it could actually do more damage. That said, the whole idea is to stop that bleed. So, but
yeah, death is worse than
death is
damage.
Than the damage, right? But understanding all this also is go to your local doctors. If you've got a hospital in your area, most hospitals or EMT stations will periodically throughout the year give free first aid classes. They will give free stop the bleed and tourniquet training. Just say, hey, I want you to come out to my neighborhood, and we've got about 20 people that want to learn how to use a tourniquet and stop the bleed and all that. Utilize those. They're free, people. And a lot of times they have grants that when you take a class, they're going to give you a tourniquet to use, to take home with you. So stop the bleed and first aid, how to use a defibrillator, also how to CPR. All of these things you can get this training for free. Utilize that. Allow yourself to be an asset instead of a hindrance in those situations. If you're not one of those that want to carry a gun and all of that, cool. Guess what? You can still be part of the solution and learn how to be a battlefield medic for 5 minutes. Learn how to do that. If you can save someone's life for 5 minutes until the ambulance gets there, then you're a hero. Let's be honest. Charles PLO says, Ghost, I'm not sure if you've covered this yet, but I have some firearm stage at a few places around my place. Yeah, we have not gotten to the firearm section yet. Obviously, we're going to leave that one for last because that's going to be a big one for sure. And he says he took the Stop the Bleed class and got a lot. Yeah, it's a great one. Patriot says they even sell quick clot Band-Aids. That's good for, tourniquets, quick clot stuff, Israeli bandages, all of these. Hell, you learn how to utilize a belt as a tourniquet if you need to. I mean, there's things that you can do to help that situation, right? Like I said, the last thing you want to do is be a hindrance. Be part of that and get some of that. I guess the last thing is kind of firearms, whether it's tactics or staging and all of that. Definitely don't want to have some OPSEC here and all that. But I'll just throw this out. Answer it if you want to, guys. Kyle and Clover and out there in the chat. Do you have firearms, like Travis was saying, staged throughout the house? I'm not going to say where, obviously, but I'll put it to you this way. Anywhere in my house, and I don't have a huge house by any means, but I've got a decent size house. But I've kind of figured out you're never going to have to take more than 10 steps anywhere in my house to either get to a firearm or at least a loaded magazine, right? Do you guys have things staged that will help in that situation? And if you don't want to answer, by all means, you don't have to answer that.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I do, and the family definitely is aware of that.
Yeah,
they know where all that's located as well, just in case.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely feel like that's an important aspect of home security, to be honest with you, is having that tool.
So. Having that tool at your disposal. Go ahead, Clove.
Oh, I was going to say I've got a few, and then I've got even more if you count the ones I've misplaced. So.
Well, that doesn't help you because you don't know where they are. Like,
yeah, but here's the thing:
Clover has so many damn guns that he doesn't know where all of them are. He literally will like, "Hey, guess what I found? I haven't seen this gun in years. Guess what? I found it." Like, bro, like you found it in the cookie jar? Like, what the hell, dude?
That's what I'm saying, though. In a pinch, stress kicks in, and I remember where it's at. So there you go.
Muscle memory.
Now the bad thing is those are never loaded, so like wouldn't help.
Yeah,
scary tactic.
I could throw it at them or something.
There you go.
Just throw it at them. There's a lot of people out there saying they carry it home. I don't carry inside my house. I'm not gonna lie. Do I have? Once again, I don't have to take more than 10 steps anywhere in my house from point to point without having access to something. I do not carry inside my house. I'm not saying it's bad. I don't.
I think that's kind of one of the wins of having staged weapons, though, is you don't have to. Yeah,
that's right. You guys, the shower has been brought up. Obviously, do not have a gun in the shower. That said, we do have blades in the shower. So if I'm in the shower, my wife's in the shower, something happens, we will have a weapon on them. May not be a gun, but we got blades and in the shower, ready to go to grab.
Well, man, there's a gun under the sink in the bathroom in every movie.
I'm not saying there's not. I'm just saying inside the actual shower.
I'm not saying in anybody's house. I'm just making a point.
Yeah. No, I'm saying this: if someone wants to come into the actual shower because you think that I'm unarmed while literally taking a shower, that might not work out well for you. Now, the second that I get out of the shower, you're going to be in a worse position at that point.
So a toilet tank lid makes a pretty good weapon. Just saying.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
That's a big honking chunk of porcelain. You can do some damage.
You can change someone's life pretty quickly with that.
I guarantee you can.
Ken Griffey Jr. swing.
Hell yeah. Yeah, someone's gonna have a really bad life. They might live through it. But their life has changed. If you get hit over with a porcelain, their life has changed forever.
Get a leg or anything. Like, you're breaking bone.
Yeah. G-Web says, sounds like Ghost is susceptible to a roof attack. Bring it on, baby. I think you should try.
You will.
I really do. I really think you should try a roof attack.
You're one brave soul if you try to come in from my roof. If you try to stand on my roof to come in, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole. They could come in literally through the roof, possibly.
Oh, they would come in through the roof if they got up there. There's no
doubt. We've talked about this before. Training, and there's a lot of people that are pro training, anti-training, and all that. And I want to make this clear because I don't want to sit there and say that CQB is home defense training. It's not. CQB is its own tactical training, but understanding the ideas and the tactics of CQB will definitely help in a home defense scenario, room clearing, all that stuff, because I'm assuming that, especially if you have kids in the house or people in the house besides yourself, and they're in different rooms, unless you have a very, very strange house that the kids' bedrooms are adjoined by a door into your own bedroom, which is very odd, you're going to have to leave your room, go into another room to get to another room. At least to do that if you're going to go try to get the kids. So understanding angles, understanding how to utilize light and shadow or lack of light, all of these things in room clearing and CQB tactics are something that I think that people could really benefit from. Now, are there training classes specifically for home defense? Absolutely. But I think you should take all of those if you're interested in taking training. Learn force on force. Take a force on force class. Take a CQB class. Take a home defense class. Take a concealed carry class. Take all of those. But utilizing training tactics as a whole to implement into a home defense is something that for me personally, I think is pretty fun, but I also enjoy training and tactics side of things. Clover's probably going to disagree, but as far as if you were going to, let me pose a question to you, Clove. If you were going to recommend training for someone for home defense, what kind of training would you probably suggest they get?
Probably some type of close quarters, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The reason why I brought close CQB up is a lot of people will sit there and say, well, CQB is not home defense. No, I get that. But the tactics of CQB can absolutely be utilized in home defense. So,
yeah, you want to work angles. It's geometry at its basic root. I mean,
footwork and being stealth, utilizing cover and concealment to get from point A to point B. All of those things kind of go into that.
Yep.
Kyle, if someone was to ask you, hey, what kind of training, I'm thinking about doing some home defense with the fam or whatever, what kind of training should I start with? What would you kind of suggest?
I would say the same thing. CQB, I think it translates very well to home defense. Yeah. Not only that, but I mean, CQB will also teach how to work as a team, as a small unit. And I think that's going to be important in home defense because it's you and your family. Even if it's not, though, you're alone or whatever. Again, CQB is going to play a huge role in how you defend your home. Yeah.
We've talked about this in different scenarios and in different posed questions throughout the years. If there's someone out there who happens to come across the title of this and says that could be interesting, I don't shoot guns, but I my neighbor was broken into a few weeks ago. Maybe we should have some sort of a home defense plan, right? Someone might come across this in the podcast world that is interested, right? That has made it an hour and a half into this fiasco. That said, that kind of scenario, if we were going to suggest for someone that's looking to buy their first firearm or weapon for home defense, specifically for home defense, Kyle, I want to start with you first. What kind of gun would you suggest to someone like that get?
That's a tough question.
It is, because it depends on what your fancy is, right?
It really does. A personal preference plays a huge role into that.
Yeah.
Something in my gut tells me to recommend like a PCC or and G-Web is gonna hate this, a 9mm compact handgun.
Yeah.
Just something easy to control. Something to kind of get your feet wet before you dive in, because I want to say AR-15 so bad.
Right.
I'm a little biased on that end too, but I think that's probably the next step up from a PCC or a little 9mm handgun.
Yeah.
But I mean, to be honest with you, I think the go-to guy on this one's going to be Clover Tac.
Well, I think I know what Clover's going to say.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to say shotgun right out of the gate.
I knew that was coming down.
But then I disagree with Kyle on a point, and it's if you're going to go handgun, I say go with a big honking full size. Now, you don't want to go with anything that's too big for your hands. Like I would never pick a Deagle, for example.
Sure.
But something full size, larger capacity, more weight, easier to mitigate recoil. Typically longer sight radius, longer barrel, more velocity. There's a lot of perks to that full size. You're not carrying it. You're not having to conceal it. You're not having to do all of that. So why not? Why not take advantage of all the perks? The competition shooters shoot bigger handguns for a reason.
Right.
Why not take advantage of those perks in a home defense situation, right? So I just, even the shotgun has the drawback of, not being able to operate one-handed. But then again, how much are you going to train? How much are you going? Let's say you decide on a handgun and okay, I'm going to go with a handgun. I like the perks of all that. Are you going to the range every week, every other week? Once a month, once a year, never. You're buying it, just sticking it in a night drawer. Like, what are you doing? Because, if that's going to be, me getting to the range, me buying ammo, me training is problematic. Then you probably need to go shotgun.
Yeah.
Period.
I in that scenario, I don't agree with your argument there for sure.
Yeah.
Hold on here. No, like I said, in that scenario, I tend to lean towards. I've got a handgun that's by my bedside. That's the Witness 2311. It's got a large capacity. It's got a light on it and all that. And then I've also got my AR9s, PCCs, whatever you want to call them. Now, Clover and I kind of talked a little bit about this on the Ghost and Clover the other night, but not in this necessarily this situation. And I want to say specifically a weapon used for home defense, not necessarily for carry, for all that. It's a weapon that you're going to have in the house, and it's there specifically for home defense. Where do you guys come down with weapon mounted lights? Whether it's a handgun, rifle, shotgun, whatever, weapon mounted lights for home defense. Where do you guys fall down on that?
I do have one. Mine is the Kiger ANSI Pro, and it does have a light on it.
Yep.
Now, whether or not I choose to use that light,
that's a whole nother discussion. Absolutely,
but it has one on it. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
I agree with Clover. I'm not necessarily going to use it because of the deterrence we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
But it's nice to have at my disposal if for any reason I need it.
Absolutely. Yep. I am not, especially on handguns. I am not a light guy on handguns. I've got the 2311 right here. We've got a Streamlight on it that when I go to bed with me, that goes right there, and that's the handgun. I've also got other things in there by the bed that have lights on there that might be a little more powerful than that 2311. But for home defense, my home defense guns are going to have lights on them. Like they both said, whether or not I choose to use them and utilize them is a whole nother issue, but having them available for whatever reason is, and mandatory carry says the lights that have the strobe, the strobe could be a deterrent in its own. A light in itself could be utilized as a weapon in itself. I don't necessarily carry lights, weapon mounted lights, and all of that. That's just not something that I do. But Mario says Deagle for the win. But having a weapon mounted light for home defense may not be the worst idea in the world either. I think we've kind of covered quite a bit. Is there anything that I've gone through my list and I might have missed some stuff? Kyle, Clover, is there anything that if you were talking to someone who is a true newbie in this and never thought about a home defense plan, is there something that I've missed that you think that people need to at least consider for their plan?
No, just to kind of reinforce what Clover Tack was talking about earlier, invest some money in the training. Definitely invest money in the training. That's at the end of the day is what's going to be the most beneficial to you if you ever did have to defend your home. All the other stuff is, I don't want to call it fluff because it does hold its place. It is important, but if you can't defend yourself, then everything's all for naught. So
that's fair. That's fair.
I'm gonna go down a road that might be a little unpopular, but
no, let's go for it. Absolutely, I'm all for that because what might be unpopular also might be something needs to be heard one way or the other.
I think if first of all, there's several things I'm going to say that might be unpopular, but I'm going to say them.
You do that on a daily basis.
I think first of all, I think the vast majority of us out here, if we're intellectually honest with ourselves, live in a very safe, secure world that the odds are astronomically freaking low that anything is ever going to happen, especially in our home. Now, down a dark alleyway or in a bad part of town, you're driving through, a totally different story, right?
Right.
It's over somebody's house visiting, whatever, but in your own home.
Yep.
So that's the first thing is the mentality that somebody's just after you and it's just inevitable, and living your life that way, I think, is ridiculous. First of all, not that you don't prepare.
Sure.
second part of that is for the small percentage of people, and I do believe it is a small percentage of people that do live in absolute crap hole neighborhoods, whatever the case may be. Yeah. Your priority should be to stop making excuses and get you and your family out of the crap hole neighborhood or situation that you're in and get moved somewhere. And that's unpopular because we hear it all the time. I ain't got the money to move, Rocket. You find a way. If it's your family,
you find a way. Stop spending money on stupid stuff for a couple months and save that money.
Right.
You
figure out a way to get your family into a better situation and a better position, period.
Absolutely.
Put your family first, buckle down, figure it out. And again, those are some hard pills to swallow, some hard truths that we have to come to terms with, but it's worth saying.
No, 100%.
Sometimes you just need to get yourself out of that. What's your home defense situation to get?
Sometimes we're our own worst enemy. And it's easier to make excuses than to make changes. Let's just be honest, right?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with anything you said. You have any more unpopular stances? Because I'm all for it. I like pissing people off,
Yeah. Well, again, I think everybody, if they're being honest, has to agree with it. But it's hard. It's hard for people, especially if you're in those situations, to agree with that.
Yeah. No, there are some hard truths out there for sure. And one of them is not Wayne says, I live in a rough neighborhood. Motion lights outside my house make it look like a nightclub. That might attract the wrong type of people. There might be some people that throw some club techno on there, play some Moby out there, and disco lamp, and you might get people knock on the door at 3 a.m. and you know what? You can charge them $20 to get in.
Right.
And that might help you move if you start charging a gate to get charge. Cover charge, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, there's always ways, there's always ways to work the system, right? There's always ways to work the system.
Yeah, I think so.
Bring Kyle in real quick. And we talked earlier about Anderson. I know you guys have been busy. You got a lot of cool stuff that the front line's coming out, and it's out now. You've got a lot of stuff going on, Anderson. I know that you guys are probably still working 24/7 trying to catch up with all the orders and all that. But anything else that you want to bring up for Anderson, then I'll give you a few minutes to talk about what you guys are doing.
Like I said, our featured product this week, our AM15 lightweight elite receiver set. Go check those out. AndersonManufacturing.com. You can find us on all the socials at Anderson Manufacturing. Except for X, it's at Anderson Rifles. Hit us with the hashtag Pony Express in memory of John, wherever he's at right now.
I don't want to know where he is, honestly.
Hey, he's out on the front lines, baby.
I doubt that. He probably hasn't waken up. He's taking an afternoon nap, man. That's just how he rolls.
No, thanks for having me on, Ghost.
Always, brother. Always. Go check out AndersonManufacturing.com. Utilize code GHOST. Save you some money. Clove, come on in here. What you got going on this week?
Well, we dropped that Ghost and Clover episode 2.
Yeah, we did.
A couple of days ago. What was it? I think flashlights, and wasn't it? And what we talked about, but for Carrie, and then
for Carrie,
and then 3D printing. So
3D printing, and then the other one was
I don't tell them. I tell them.
Okay, you're right. And then we had the random viewer topic. So go check that out.
So man, I just been 3D printing crap. I got to get busy this week though. Hopefully trying to film some stuff, get the normal content going because things are piling up. Before you know it, NRA will be here. While we were live, I did get our Airbnb booked. So
I will send you money.
So we are set for that. And I don't know what else. I don't know.
We've got a video that dropped over the weekend on the Anderson Frontline 10.5 quad rail, # Team Quad Rail. Now, not Wayne out there is a little pissed at Anderson for you guys haven't donated to his suit fund, his brand new Italian suit fund. So, not Wayne will take Venmo, PayPal. He'll take it all. So
Bitcoin, Ethereum,
Bitcoin, sure, all that.
Dogecoin.
He probably would. I'm not going to go down there. I was going to say he probably would take prescription drugs because you can sell that stuff for a lot of money right now on the streets, but probably not. Don't want to do that. Disclaimer. But no, we dropped the Anderson 10.5 quad rail 556 video over the weekend. This weekend. Oh, it's this weekend is the Gideon Omega. Something you guys might not thought you'd ever see. I did a video with a dot on a pistol. I know. So, it's kind of, it is what it is. But that's coming out. I've got one coming out on the Streamlight that's on the 2311. I've got the Gideon Advocate coming down the line. I've got a bunch of stuff coming down the line. There's going to be at least one. If some weeks will be 2 videos a week, but at least 1 video a week, all the way through NRAM, and then then we reset and start all over again. So looking for it. Can't fight for the second looking raggedy. That's true. That's fair.
Are you guys going to be doing a podcast from NRAM this year? Or?
Not an official one. You never know what happens. But not an official one like we had it shot. As of yet. But you know what? There's still time for people that want to jump on that boat. We can probably do that. If a company out there wants to have us in the booth, we might be able to make that work. But nothing has happened yet.
I've got something in the works that's similar or adjacent or related, but it's
you do, but it's not. That's a CloverTac thing, not a Ghosted Clover.
Yeah, it's not a y'all thing.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
NRAM is in Dallas this year, not Wayne. So,
Big D.
Michael Tate out there says, "Amen. Keep on kicking ass, my brothers. You never bow down to the communist dictators. You are truly the people's champion." Holy shit! I've never been called that, but I think that deserves.
The Rock's going to be pissed.
I think I need a belt. I think I need a belt. I might have to go on Amazon and find me a belt. I've never been called a people's champion before. But now that I have been called that, then I think a belt would look pretty good.
I've been called the people's loser an awful lot.
I've been called the people's a lot of things, but champion was never like people. The word people and the word champion in my life have never entered the sentence in the same sentence. So
you need to get a belt to commemorate that.
Mandatory carriers will have a PO box. No, I need to get one of those, but I think I might have to go. I might have to go find me an Amazon belt. Put that in the backdrop. People's champion belt.
Ooh.
Just saying.
It's official now. So
people's champion. You smell what the Rock is cooking. Is that what he said? The Rock is cooking. Is that what he said?
Yeah. A little more pronounced than that, but that's.
I've never seen him wrestle, so I don't know. The last person, I've never been a wrestling guy. What?
I'm kind of mind blown too.
How in the world have you went through life and not seen The Rock wrestle at all?
Period? I mean, I've seen clips and all that, but I've never watched. I mean, I've seen clips of him wrestling. I've just never watched wrestling.
Fine. That's fine. That's good.
The last person that I remember watching on TV wrestling was 20-something years ago. Was Goldberg back on WCW. I was a big Goldberg. I love Goldberg, and actually literally ran into him at SHOT Show a couple years ago and almost hurt him. Let's just be honest. He stumbled. He almost fell down. He was a little scared of me. Apologized for, profusely. He did. He apologized. I mean, I'm so sorry. I did not mean Ghost. Like, I'm sorry. Like, don't kick my ass. And so I let him walk away and keep his pride. But now
that's after you let him take a selfie with you.
100%. 100%.
Because you're humble like that.
I am humble like that. Yes. Anyone that knows me knows that I'm a humble guy. That's funny. I try to be pretty humble. And now I'm an arrogant motherfucker at times too. So let's just be real.
It's easy to be humble when you know how awesome you are.
This is true. I watched something last night, and you guys know, people that know me well know I'm a big baseball guy. And I watched, I don't know how I got on it. It was on YouTube, but it came across my feed, and I ended up watching it. It was like a half-hour thing, maybe even longer than that. But it was Tony Gwynn. So my two baseball heroes are Pete Rose and Tony Gwynn. I think people know that about me. But there was the last game of Tony Gwynn's career there in San Diego. They had this, after the game was over, they had this big ceremony for him, right? And talking about someone who deserves to be as arrogant as he wants to be is one of the most, he's not alive anymore, rest in peace, Tony Gwynn, but was one of the most humble, quiet people you're ever going to meet. And his entire speech, of his retirement ceremony, was bringing up former and current players that meant a lot to him, right? It wasn't about him. It wasn't talking about anything about him. He was recognizing his teammates and different people and coaches. And I thought, like, if anyone had the right to sit there and say, I'm a bad dude, like but that wasn't Tony. Tony spent half an hour praising owners and praising coaches and praising players and teammates and all of that. It was the classiest thing I've ever seen in my life. But Scott, do you know that Steve Garvey is running for Dianne Feinstein's seat? I did not know that, but you know what? I hope he beats the hell out of her.
She's not
Tony,
running, obviously.
Huh?
She's not running, obviously.
Well, he could be on the Republican side, maybe.
Well, I meant Feinstein's not running, is what I'm saying, obviously.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, she's not. No. I hope he wins. I'm assuming. I don't know. I don't know what he's running for. Well, he's running for governor of California. I don't know his political. I say I hope he wins. I may not hope he wins. I don't know. I don't know anything about his personal beliefs and all that.
Jeez, can anybody be any worse than Mr. Pretty Hair?
Mr. Pretty Hair. Oh, he's Republican. Okay.
Newsom.
Yeah. Okay.
Newsom.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, probably not. Well, there are some people that are worse. Yeah. A couple of them are in the White House right now. Just saying. So,
valid.
But yeah, just saying. Yeah. Got dark and deep real quick there, didn't it? But he's a Republican running for governor. I hope he wins. Steve Garvey was at Tony Gwynn's ceremony, and he talked a little bit, and Tony talked a lot about Steve Garvey.
Holy, you guys got me good. I thought you said Steve Harvey. I'm like,
oh, no, Steve Garvey. He's a baseball player. Yeah, good Garvey.
Like, is he really running?
Yeah, no, good Garvey for the G. Steve Garvey, longtime guy, played with the Dodgers, Padres, played for a bunch of teams. Probably most notable with the Dodgers, but he went to the '84 series with the Padres and all of that. So, yeah. Not Wayne says that's what they call me too, Mr. Pretty Hair. There you go. Yeah. Not Wayne. Those few strains of hair that you do have are holding on for dear life, my friend. So that must have been a long time ago. Yeah. Anyways, as far as us, yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you're out there, thanks for the chat and the discussion, and the live chat was great. If you're watching this in replay or probably listen to this in podcasts, utilize the comment section. And if you have any questions or comments or just want to talk some smack or just say hi. And as Mandatory Carry says, hey, there's no refunds for this show. We did not promise you a quality show. So we don't promise anything. But make sure you get to the range. Be more proficient with your firearms. Stay in tune what's going on with your local, state, and federal 2A legislation, especially if you're in California. You might want to think about voting for Steve Garvey for governor. Be kind of awesome.
Not Steve Harvey.
Not Steve Harvey. Steve Garvey. Yeah. More importantly, if your elected representatives are not doing their job, guess what? This is an election year, and you can make that shit change real quickly. Most importantly, enjoy your freedoms of being American, one of which to keep and bear arms. We'll see you soon next week. Semper Fi.